Hello and welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It's been a marathon of a day. We've been here since before 12 o'clock, and we're finally ready to wrap things up with our final game of the night. We've already had our Rocky Mountain Warfare Invitational. Big congratulations to Odin Squad, the back-to-back champs. We've had some Tetris competitions to sort of have break up the monotony here, but we're on to our final event of the night, and it's back to the Boise State versus ICCU Esports Showdown, and it's going to be determining who is the winner of today's action. ICCU put me and the rest of Boise State in their place in the Call of Duty Showdown, and then we had Boise State answer right back in Rocket League. And it's on to the final game of the night, and it is League of Legends time here between Boise State and the Go Green team of ICCU. We'll have a nice little squad for Boise State, including 3 members from the Broncos' third team that they have, who we've seen a couple times on stream, so it's really incredible. The Broncos have 15 talented League of Legends players, and we're going to see some of those. The name you might recognize, Demon Cried, or Demon Cried, I should say, was on the Orange team last year, so that will be one of the names you might recognize. You also have Hayden up there, part of the production staff, volunteering to take part in this event. But the casters tonight are going to be Baratel and Glovely. They're joining me. I'm just here to make sure everything gets off to a good start. You boys are the ones holding it down here. There's a lot of pressure on Boise State here because ICCU could come out today 2-1 victors in our Saturday events.
It is true, and thankfully, Boise State did rack up some victories in our previous broadcast and a couple of other games. It's a new day. You know, anything can happen.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing is, besides you, these players have been watching these games all day. There's got to be some level of fatigue mentally, probably not physically, but they have to end the day just as strong as they started it. So we'll have to see if the wear and tear is going to show through, or they're going to be able to persevere through the entire day series. It's
actually a really great point you bring that up, Baratel, because the 5th member of the team, as I mentioned, 3 players from the Boise State League of Legends third squad, Hayden from the production staff, and then Cosmo Buster from the Rocket League team, who played in the Call of Duty tournament. Then he played in the Rocket League against ICCU, and now he's coming out here for the League of Legends portion of the broadcast. So he is going to be all over the place, and we see there for the Go Green squad some players that we do recognize. Spades, of course, absolutely dump trucked Boise State in Call of Duty. The man had 45 kills in our final event. He is someone to watch out for if he's as talented in League of Legends as he is in Call of Duty. Clumbo, Cookie Monster, Grouch, and then Roman, who I believe was also on the Call of Duty squad. I know him and I at this chat request are going to have a 1v1 tournament at some point because him and I were having some fun with his inability to hit a sniper rifle shot here and there. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. I'm rooting for Boise State, but they got to be ready for ICCU. I'm not going to lie. They came out in Rocket League, and I was ready for them to be like, how do I even turn the car? I was thinking it was going to be a stomp, and even Cosmobuster admitted afterwards. There are some players there who were actually really, really talented. So this is a squad that I'm sure has put a lot of hours into League of Legends. I am really excited to see how this matchup goes down between these 2 squads, Baratel. And also, since this is going to be for fun, I've heard rumors that we're going to have a lot of fun in the bot lane. Potentially. Just going to say that. Boise State's bot lane might be pretty wild.
I mean,
if it's not Garen Yumi, we riot. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Garen Yumi, certainly. But there's a lot of versatility in that bottom lane. People have been making memes about how marksmen haven't been the best choice in the bot lane for quite a while. We've seen Swain, we've seen Ziggs, and of course Lucian, a marksman, has then suddenly moved up to the middle lane. Like, at this point, like, bottom lane is a great place if you want to play something wild and wacky.
Yeah, definitely, and despite it being for fun, there are some players that I now know are going to probably take it a little bit more seriously than they should. Cosmo Buster being on the roster, if certain champions aren't banned, we've all actually played against his patented mid laner, and it almost destroyed us. So hopefully ICCU would take some notes from previous broadcasts, maybe did some scouting, but again, for fun, probably not. So they're going to suffer the same fate that we almost did.
Well, I mean, we'll find out if Garen got banned, so.
Yeah, I'm assuming in good sportsmanship, we'll hand over the OPGGs and see what they want to play. Yeah, I mean, bot lane, I play with Baratel countless times, and it's something I say every time I get auto-filled in that role. It really feels like, as a bot laner, you've got to play about 1 to 2 elos better than the rest of your squad to be able to carry it. I mean, there's just so much micro that has to go in. Can you orb block? Can you dodge every single skill shot in the game being thrown at you and still put out consistent damage? damage, and it's times I'm like, I hate this role. I think this is one of the stupidest roles ever invented, and as Glovely pointed out, I'd much rather play Cassiopeia in the bot lane than anything else. So I'll be curious. I think I talked to Hayden. He, from the production staff, might be the bot laner. He says he lanes bot lane in solo queues, so he might be the bot laner. Boise State might be in good hands, but I hate that role. I think it's stupid. I think it needs to be changed. And speaking about, we talked about the Cold War changes, and we'll start with you, Baratel. We're really close to an almost revamp in League of Legends with the new preseason and the new items right around the corner.
Yeah, and it's going to be a big mix-up. Usually when it comes to preseason, there's a few changes. Riot does what they can to try and emerge maybe an unfavored role in terms of the team comp. We had the Juggernaut update, the Assassin rework, types of champions that may not have seen play. This time, they're literally tackling the most important part of the game, items, which is going to throw everything up in the air. And it's probably the most exciting time for League of Legends. I hope that here at the Boise State broadcast, we try to do some cool stuff with that, because it's going to be super fun to try and learn what the heck's going on.
I mean, I've certainly been doing my research, and oh boy, things are chaotic. We've got old items being removed, new items coming in, other items being completely reworked to be different from what they were in terms of both their stats and their actual effects. Of course, I am paying attention to what items are viable on certain champions and
Garen.
what items. Look, there's an item that gives Garen a dash. Like, I am so excited for this new season.
He already runs fast enough. And I think Barrett's also hit on a really good point. We'll start with you, Glovely, just real quick. He talked about it. There's usually one lane that's always revamped. We got Juggernauts, we got Assassin. It feels like right now jungle is that role where you can hard carry out of the jungle. We've seen ever since Ethux come online for the Boise State Blue team, he has been able to solo carry games. What role or lane or character style, Glovely, I'll leave it really open to your imagination, do you want to see get this rave of buffs that we usually see in the preseason?
I think if there's any role that needs it right now, it's probably the bot lane. There's always been a couple of standout marksmen who are like head and shoulders above the rest. I would love to see a lot more variety out of those marksmen in the bot lane, and maybe some nerfs in the other direction for a certain mid lane AD carry who has been taking over the meta evolution. But as far as that bottom lane goes, like, it's been very stagnant for a long time. It's like whoever the new marksman is the OP one. We saw that with Aphelios. We saw that with Senna. There were some brief periods of time before that where other champions, of course, had their time to shine. But, like, let's see the ability to pull out just about any marksman in the game and make them viable again. We saw that at one point during the Cinderhulk meta. There was a time period where suddenly tanks were viable in the jungle again, but because you could put that tank in the jungle, you could get other champions into the top lane and into your mid lane and give yourself a lot more variety in those roles.
Berto, quickly, what do you want to change?
Yes.
What role? Quickly.
It doesn't matter. Udir's going to be busted. It's okay. I'm okay with anything that happens. Udir's coming back. Vinny!
Darius is the first ban here. I'm happy to see that go. Hecarim going to be the first ban in the other direction. So Boise State going to take away something of a mascot for themselves.
Yeah, we see somebody supporting Spades. Let me tell you, Nautical Tank, he doesn't need support. He absolutely destroyed me in Call of Duty.
Ban.
No, Teemo's not Teemo. It's new champion. Pro draft fails to understand what's happening. That's a Seraphine ban for ICCU. You wanted to see that champion, actually. Really sad she got banned away. Maybe it's something that one of the Boise State players has been playing. And then there's Caitlyn, and there's that Lucian takeaway you talked about.
Yeah, Lucian,
it's okay that Seraphine's banned because Sona's still on the board.
That's true, and Seraphine is just Sona 2.0.
I thought they were the same champion. Well, what do you mean? Seraphine's not banned.
It's not a Sona rework? That's so crazy.
Weird. And then we see Severa banned, once again, as Globally mentioned, new AD carry, usually strong in the bot lane, and then there's that Graves. Not surprised for Boise State. They didn't want to go with the Lilia. It is going to be the Senna pick and the Jax, something we haven't seen from time to time, especially in Worlds.
I don't think the Senna pick's too crazy. When it comes down to it, ADCs not being able to be those hyper carries, we don't typically see those in the bottom lane. You want ADC that offers a tremendous amount of utility or support. You see the Ashe often. Senna's a good one as well because she's able to get the shields. She scales really well into the late game. And then, of course, that root that's just so devastating, depending on how it's used, could be really, really big for Boise State.
Annie actually going to be picked up here for the mid lane.
Ooh.
Oh, Garen! Garen!
What? Now, Glovely, if that is official, who are you going to root for? Because that's on the green team, who, by the way, have a ton of support in Twitch chat.
He's already biased. You can't switch it.
I do need to bias. I am bias naturally towards Boise State, of course, you know, because I am a Boise State caster and I want to see our team win. But I'm afraid that my loyalties are swinging a little bit here because that is a champion people know I am very passionate about. On the other side, Orion is going to be the pickup for the mid lane as we start getting into the second round of bans. Ashe going to be taken away. Get that other utility marksman off the board.
Let's say Ascent. I see him in the chat. Boy, sorry, Bear, I didn't want to interrupt you, but he can't.
Oh, you're fine.
He can't root for Green Team until they lock in Rumble, my man. You can't just say Green Team's going to win. There's no Rumble picked up yet. You got to remain neutral. You can only root for your favorite
Rumble
champion
or
when they've been picked.
Cassiopeia. I mean, come on, let's be honest here.
Rumble. I mean, we could go Rumble, Cassiopeia, Azir, Lucian.
I really don't think, and I'll be the first one to be wrong so far on this part of the broadcast. I don't think that's an Annie mid. I think that's an Annie support because that Molten Shield buff can be huge. You are going to be completely negated from trying to get those crucial auto attacks. Despite it being Senna, she doesn't have a lot of sustain minus the Q. She has to auto attack to get that Q off cooldown. So having the Annie in the bottom lane could be a nice pickup here for ICCU.
It's going to be Thresh, Maokai, and Fiddlesticks clearing out the rest of the bans. The Thresh the Maokai I thought was a particularly interesting one. I've played the Garen Maokai matchup myself many times, and it is really hard to get in on a Maokai and get that early lane pressure because he just has to land one Q and immediately your entire engage nullified. So great champion to take off the board as Ezreal is now locked in for Boise State.
That was the one thing.
Yeah, that would almost show that Senna's going to be the support here for today. Ezreal is one of the few champions that can creep himself up into that carry role. Oftentimes, building the Frozen Fist means that he has a spammable area slow, which can still kind of provide that utility. But the way that Ezreals can play, we've seen the drastic difference recently in the world stage. North American Ezreals versus Korean Ezreals. It's night and day. So we'll have to see if Boise State has taken some notes there from world stage.
And NA Ezreals don't build Triforce. We need to get that out of the way. It's Iceborne Gauntlet, or you're just trolling at this point. We see the
actually trolling.
Kale, so it actually is Jack's jungle. I was wondering when Jack got picked where he was going to go. It's Jack's jungle. It's the Kale lock-in for Boise State. And then still, you mentioned maybe Annie support. Morgana, very strong in the mid laner, doesn't really get kills, but able to just sort of sustain. So ICCU, it's a term we use a lot for Boise State, coming out with some flex picks there that keep them on their toes if it's Morgana or Annie mid.
Yeah, both of those champions.
What a weird flex pick, too.
Both of those champions are also viable in other roles. You could take Annie in the top lane. I don't recommend it, but it's possible. You could take Morgana top. You can even take her jungle. I've seen it done a few times. I don't think that's very likely, though. Looking at the champions here, most likely it's going to be top lane Garen versus Kale. Jungle is going to be Jax against Graves. Mid lane, toss-up between Annie and Morgana against the Orianna, and then it's going to be Senna and Ezreal up against whoever's left of the supports and Jinx in the bottom lane.
Once again, the support for ICCU's Go Green team rolling in strong here. They did win in Call of Duty earlier today with Spades on that team, putting in some work. Also had Roman as well, so two players with some carryover there. But Cosmobuster was also on the Call of Duty team, and he is playing for Boise State, along with three members of the Broncos' third team, and then Hayden from the production staff, maybe hanging it down on the Ezreal. I know he said he thought he might be playing in that ADC role. We'll have to see when the game goes live. We'll see if production can hit us up real quickly. I know Ace Pocket wanted to know where his friend and teammate Cosmobuster was going. So we'll see. Have to think it's probably mid lane Baratel, but we'll have to see. We don't really know where anyone's going at this point.
I'm surprised to not see the Zoe if that's the case, to be honest, then as well. He is the person that's playing the mid lane. Zoe is, again, the champion that gave us such a tremendously hard time, and she hasn't received even a remote attention in terms of nerf. So maybe, again, this is just a fun mentality. I am kind of disappointed. ICCU only drafting two champions that shoot after their dominant performance in Call of Duty.
Don't remind me.
Guns now to
remind me,
continue.
Please.
Yeah,
I
bet it feels very bad.
We were just talking
you.
about how marksmen have having a rough time everywhere, and now you're like, oh, we need to pull out more guns. Like we got Lucian,
and
we got Senna
better way
in the
to
game.
prove it to say 5 marksman comp. Let's
exactly.
go.
I mean, as Baratel said, that is the one game that ICCU has won. I believe on Friday, Boise State held down the fort pretty strong in Valorant, StarCraft, and Overwatch. So yeah, bring out more guns. Try and get this to be as close as Call of Duty as possible. So really hopeful that Spade is on that Graves because with the gun in that man's hands, he is pretty unstoppable. So I'll be really curious to see how the lineups fill out. And we had to get confirmation Cosmo Buster is mid on the Orianna, so maybe he wanted to hide the Zoe. Don't quite know if it's best of 3, best of 5. So maybe he's hiding it for a potential series clinching match.
Well, one thing
I
to
like
keep
this
in
Twitch chat. Give Spades a controller and a gun and a sure win. I mean, so far so good, right?
Yeah, I mean he definitely put in work for the ICCU team. As this is the last game of the Boise State versus ICCU Esports Showdown. It's League of Legends time. See if either squad will win this Saturday. As we mentioned, ICCU took Call of Duty, Boise State took Rocket League, and now we're going to League of Legends. There it is. Corporate gaming team made up of employees. Some of the best gamers in Idaho. That's definitely true in Modern Warfare. Known as the Green Team, taking on top varsity programs. And as we mentioned, they're challenging Boise State in 6 titles. The Broncos have won the overall 4-2, or 4-1, excuse me, right now. But ICCU could maybe.
Early, huh?
Apparently, maybe I caster coach ICCU, but we'll see if they win League of Legends and if it's a 4-2 final score, as apparently I have accidentally predicted. So maybe the Boise State team might be now upsetting me. I know the ICCU guys were having a little fun at me when I was roasting them in Call of Duty before they absolutely took it to me after I subbed in. So maybe I had to try and win back their allegiances if I ever need a loan.
Yeah, that's something you got to pay attention to whenever you're calling people out on the desk. And,
exactly.
You might have the knowledge and the analytical skill, but remember that analytical skill and strategical skill don't always make the same things happen in game.
And they also can deny me a car loan, which would be not a good time at all. They'd be like, aren't you that fish guy? Weren't you talking mad trash on me? And I'd be like, are you Roman? He'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere else. Sorry, man. So, no, I mean, it's all a good fun. They knew that we were having some fun smack talk. That's what, if you play Call of Duty, you talk smack. It's a guarantee. If you've been playing for a while, you know. Sure. But this is League of Legends, and it's Baratel and Glovely here. I'll be stepping out as soon as the game goes live to let you fellas hold down the fort. So why don't you two preview the game here? We'll start with Baratel so we're all talking at the same time.
It's gonna be, I think, a huge amount of early game invading, rotations, and aggression from Boise State. Yes, they have Jax, but Jax as a jungler only gets himself that feast or famine type style play through heavy ganking. I mean, Counter-Strike's such an easy tool. There's 3 of me on the screen. That's terrifying. This is nightmare fuel. Get me off the screen! I'm sorry! Okay, now there's 2 of me. It's a little bit more manageable. I think Boise State wants to continue to put pressure on other sides of the map. Bottom lane with the Senna is going to be able to be a huge catalyst for them. Orianna is going to be a huge setup. You put the ball on Jax to engage, and they're going to want to fight and stave off as much pressure from that top lane as possible. And as we can clearly see, it is anti-mid, so we're going to put the Morgana there in the bottom lane. It's going to have a nice 2v2 matchup for the Jinx and Morgana versus Ezreal Senna. They both kind of do the same thing in terms of lane. But what I want to throw to Glovely, considering he is the Garen expert, Conqueror and Ignite on Garen top lane. This man wants to fight, doesn't he?
Oh, he absolutely wants to fight, and that's the right choice. Garen into Kayle in this scenario, Garen has a massive early game advantage, and you need to push that because as soon as Kayle hits 6, suddenly it's a melee versus ranged lane, and it's going to be so much harder to pick up those eliminations. Yes, you do get access to the Demacian Justice for executions, but Kayle can shield herself, make herself invulnerable to that execute, and make it so much harder for you to capitalize on that. So the Ignite is a great choice. It allows you to have kill pressure very early on in the game.
I do like that both teams are starting red. It is the pseudo-aggressive buff start out of the 2, despite, of course, Boise State being on blue side or on the red side here. Not starting at blue buff means that maybe potentially Jax is going to go to a quick rotation into that top lane to give their Kayla a nice lofty journey to level 6, if you will.
Yeah, he certainly is in the area for that now. Everyone just kind of casually getting their early farm leads, so obviously too early in the game for anyone to see who's going to take a really big lead here. No early vision or invades. Pretty standard jungler routes as far as everything is concerned.
Yeah, I do also enjoy the fact that Boise State's willing to put immediately the Oracle's lens here on Jax. Again, further kind of insinuating that they're going to want to go for a trade. A nice trade here in the bottom lane. Both roots are going to land from both sides. A lot of damage and almost a fully stacked Conqueror coming out from Boise State will actually win them the trade here in the bottom lane. And if this Jinx is not careful, this double physical damage source bottom lane for Boise State can completely nullify Morgana's advantage as a shield champion.
Well, it does allow her to still continue to block the crowd control, so she will be able to negate the root from Senna. But there's enough damage coming out, and not to mention the root has a much lower cooldown than the black shield does. That is a long cooldown for you folks at home watching. It's not something that you can depend on to be up all the time. We do see now the top lane is trading back and forth, trying to be very nice and calm. Kayle had a fairly recent buff to her E that allows her to use it very quickly. 2 flashes burned in the bot lane, 3 now as Annie goes for stun. Not quite able to connect, however.
Gonna maybe look out to be something Boise State can turn around on. They're not gonna go back and engage. Nice roam early here from the side of the Go Green team. ICCU trying to get some nice rotations, and this is exactly what we're talking about. A nice stun, again, rooting, but the stun does land despite the shield being up. It does come out just a little bit too late, and now Jax is waiting in the lanes. He does have flash, leap strike, and counter strike available. He's gonna maybe wait for this recall to happen. Boise State desperately needs to shove it in this wave right now in order to get this dive successfully executed.
And they are gonna go for it.
There it is, the flash stun! It's gonna come out, an instant first blood for Boise State. A second shot's gonna go over and handed easily over to Boise State is a double kill on this scaling Ezreal. Jax may actually fall to the minions. One more auto will do it from that cannon, but he gets out of dodge quickly. Stun's gonna come out, Root as well. It's gonna be given over, and Smokescreen's gonna be huge, but it's a little bit too late. Graves is gonna be the 1v2 situation as ICCU is dangerously in their own jungle. Nice rotation here from Cosmo Buster. Darkmoon Horizon is his name. Will he be able to eclipse Go Green's team? Are they able to go forward? One more auto will do it. Eddie will walk away with mere slivers of HP. And the rest of the ICCU team will collapse. Another fantastic route from the center player. Barry will come out here from Cosmo Buster, and he is just leading the fray away. He does not have a shield to block this damage, so he will fall. And a tremendously long invade does go even 1-for-1 for both teams.
Yeah, but pay attention to how many summoner spells were used from that on both sides, and many of them very key. Orianna, no summoners in the mid lane. Down in the bottom lane, Senna, no summoners. While on the other side, Go Green team has at least one summoner on every champion, except for the Morgana. Actually, no, the Annie did look like she used the Ignite a bit early.
Summoners, actually.
So, but overall, even in terms of summoners, Boise State is the one who walks away with the eliminations and shows that they have the ability to go very aggressive early into the game to push into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, and again, that was a play that Boise State committed to full-heartedly because, I mean, they felt like they needed to put as much pressure in this bottom lane as possible. That's exactly what they're going to do. Again, the physical source of the damage from this Morgana. Black Shield will not do much. A gank actually in the top lane. Movement speed given over to Jackson. Look at the counter-strike down. Garen will just simply walk and spin himself away. Boise State trying to make pressure all over the map.
That was a very good courage. Something I know a lot of folks don't realize is that Garen's W is actually his most powerful ability because of the tenacity it grants you. So very good timing there. Negated most of the stun duration of that Counter-Strike and allowed him to back off.
Yeah, and to be honest, both these champions, Kayle and Jax alike, they need a lot of items to do the 1v5, 1v9 style that the players like to do when it comes to drafting these champions. So we're going to have to wait for those to come online. But I do think that the mentality of, hey, we want to make these early plays, we want to be a little bit early aggressive, I think it's a good sign for Boise State's comp.
We do have an engagement here. Jack's trying to come down, not able to find anything, though is going to get spotted out before he's able to complete the engage. Justice Senna here in the bot lane as Ezreal backed off to pick up his tier and a pickaxe. They're going to have the components for the Muramana. Not quite completing that item yet.
Don't know if you hear the alarm in the background, Glovely, but that is the Kale's hit level 6 alarm, and that means that Garen's lane is now a lot harder for him. As the gank comes out here in the bottom lane, so will come out. Not a lot to follow up, though, as Ezreal will stave off that Graves rotation into the lane. And Senna is just going to continue to do this 1v2 thing.
The good news is that the Black Shield does negate the effects of Glacial Augment, so she's not able to continuously follow up on that with the slowing auto attacks. She's not some sort of pseudo Ashe as a result.
I do like the fact that it looks like maybe the lethality build is going to come out from the side of this Senna. Umbral Glaive is just a fantastic item on anyone who wants to take out wards, and it looks like that's exactly what they want to do. Red team will get the Dragon. Nice Dark Binding will come out, stopping Jax from getting themselves into range for that Counter-Strike stun. That's not done yet. The slow will come out. Another Leap Strike. Dash will be given over. Quick Draw can give a little bit of armor over here to the Graves, but it might not be enough as Boise State takes the Dragon and then immediately sends all of ICCU back to Under Tower.
Great play there by Boise State, knowing that they could, in fact, gain the pressure. As we see Kale harassing Garen out of the lane, this is the downside to that ranged versus melee matchup. And if you don't know the champion well, it's very difficult to survive in this scenario. Look at that, already below half health.
Nice flash here from this Morgana, but will it be enough? The Dark Binding will come out to stop the Jax from getting there. But Cosmo Buster, Darkmoon Horizon is exactly where he needs to be. Nice rotation. Boise State will pick up another one here on this Orianna mid lane.
Yeah, we do see also top lane now getting dangerously low. Kale has a lot of pressure now on this lane. Might even be able to pick up some turrets if given the time. We'll see if Garen feels safe enough to try and clear some of the wave. Otherwise, he's going to end up losing a chunk of turret. And the more gold Kale gets, the more terrifying it is to face her.
Yeah, rushing out this Berserker Greaves as well. Well, what's the intention behind the Kale's build path there for that?
Berserker Greaves is a great item for Kale early on. This is something I've learned myself playing a little bit of Kale. What it does is it gives her that additional attack speed early on, allows her to stack her passive very quickly. Kale, of course, most of her damage is auto attack based. So even though you're not buying any damage items that early on, you're still significantly contributing to her damage output.
And also, I mean, for the lane itself, getting Fleet Footwork back to that 100 stack as quickly as possible can kind of give you pseudo-sustain equal to that of Garen's passive. So could be kind of just utilizing that. The E costing 0 mana as well. Gives those free auto attack resets. So nice, like, build, if you will, from Demon Pride. But not something that we're unfamiliar seeing because we've seen this player do phenomenally well on the Boise State roster before.
Yeah, Root there comes out from Ascena, not able to get any capitalization on top of that. Does throw out the Dark Binding, doesn't find a shot though. There's the Root again. Shield comes out, but Black Shield doesn't stop all that physical damage, and now their bot lane has to back off or else they're going to get collapsed on.
A lot of damage coming out, and both the global ultimates being expended. A nice flash and heal, going to be able to dodge away. Lafayette will not be able to find the one target they were looking for, but they get heal, flash, and exhaust all for their own efforts. Nice flash here from the Graves in the middle lane. The eruption was going to be huge enough to stop him. Command Shockwave is going to be huge. Shivers will find the first target of the battlefield. Ignite will be given out. Collateral damage will be enough, but the barrier at the perfect time. Cosmo Buster getting the 1v2 and playing with style. It's not over yet, though. Watch out for your jungle. It's not safe as Vida. NA is here, and your vitals are looking pretty grim, Graves.
One really important thing to note is all of those summoners being burned across the map, but that barrier, while it isn't necessarily the most powerful summoner spell in terms of damage, and it doesn't, heal your health, it doesn't allow you to stay in lane, one of the big advantages to that barrier spell is that it has such a low cooldown. That barrier will be back up again very shortly, and that's very important for being able to negate Annie's burst damage.
Yeah, I mean, despite what a lot of people think, I feel that Orianna has a tremendous amount of defensive capabilities, but Boise State is being a little bit on the offensive, and they're going to get punished for it. Lafayette, again, being pushed up under pretty much the tower from this ICC Go Green team, finally gets punished, and going to get some very important and necessary gold onto these players here.
Yeah, and at this point, it's a question of where do you want your gold, and is it getting onto the targets you want? Over on the side of ICCU, they're not getting gold onto their big hyper carry champions, as we do see one more elimination does go over to the Graves. Thankfully, Annie, Graves, champions that don't necessarily need huge amounts of gold to still be useful. Very good at still farming or providing other utility. You really want to get your gold onto that Jinx. It's a champion that's going to be a huge hyper carry. As we do see an attempted engagement in the bot lane. Black Shield is going to negate the root, and they are able to back away.
They are buying so much space for this Ezreal. I am curious to see how close they are to finishing this entire Mana Moon. It's possible that it might just instantly turn into Mirror Mana at the time it's purchased. No, unfortunately not, but immediately getting the Mirror Mana and then purchasing the Sheen as well, compared to just the pickaxe, boots, and dagger here for the Jinx. Boise State now has a huge advantage here in this bottom lane.
Definitely, and it's one they're going to be able to pressure. Both Jinx and Ezreal really need to hit those item power spikes. Jinx has a much later one than Ezreal, but Ezreal has the disadvantage of being very mana reliant and needing to stack up that tier. But because Ezreal got ahead so much further, so very quickly with the 2-0-1 score there, he's going to have those power spikes in this mid game much sooner. Senna trying to find a target, dodges out the binding, doesn't get, yes, does throw out the root. There's a shot, the ultimate comes out, they do get both eliminations, but there's a Graves on the backside. He's going to wisely walk away. Double kill over to the side of Boise State.
Lafayette pretty much 1v2 that. Ezreal barely getting themselves in position to get the elimination portion. A lot of that damage, if not 90% of it, was all Senna there. And again, we see these two work so well in tandem. Lafayette just kind of commanding the pace of this bottom lane. They're going to get a almost pre-15-minute first tower if they push this advantage. They're going to look for another kill, though. You got to be careful, Roman, as you're the one being hunted here from the center. The Black Shield will come out, but will be enough collateral damage just to buy some space. Dark Binding will get this Jax rooted up, but the command Shockwave is here! And now, Cosmo Buster wants a piece of the action. He wants to rotate, and he's here. Timbers might be able to get more than one. It does go and immediately blow up Lafayette, but in turn, the True Shot Barrage will take out one on the other side of things. Movement speed will be given. No, not over. Command attack was only there to try and negate a lot of that Black Shield and keep Morgana away from the Ezreal, and they do so. Boise State, though, walking away, and now they have almost prime position here on this first tower. Looks like they do not want to go for it entirely. Not going to need more than one member here in the bottom lane, but that's okay.
There is going to be a dragon, however, on the side of Boise State. The Ocean Dragon picked up, and now the Rift has changed itself. Kale, of course, doing lots of damage to this turret. Garen is able to clear it out, but for how much longer? Kale is going to have that ranged advantage for so long. Is likely going to take that first tower if he doesn't get some help.
Yeah, Graves needs to get here now before this first tower falls. Perfect engage here from the Garen. Gets a flash out of the Kale. They do not have ultimate just yet. Smoke Ring will be given out, and the Justice, Demacian style will be given as well. But they barely do not secure the final auto attack. The Demon Cry gets away, and without any sort of cohesion. Green loses out on a huge amount of shutdown potential here in the top lane.
We did catch a slight glimpse earlier of a skirmish between the two where Garen burned both Flash and Ignite, trying to get onto the Kale. That's why she was so low. Now we do see a 2 versus 1 here. The Jax is going to find out the Garen, but he doesn't care too much if he gets done. He just spins anyway, but Kale is here, does get an auto attack, but not able to finish off the elimination now as people are roaming around this Rift Herald.
Command Shockwave will be dodged by the quick draw. Will be enough to stop Cosmo Buster. Will. He does have both summoners, but doesn't want to use those in the 1v2, knowing that his Kale's just trying to push for this first tower. I think that's the right call, getting that global gold. And look at that damage combo here from the Boise State bottom lane. It was so close to a race between which side of the map was going to get that first tower, but it will be that Kale. The root will land, a lot of damage will be given out, and this time Lafayette says, you've had enough kills, Ezreal. It's time for me to get some money.
You know, I've been talking for a long time while watching Boise State games. Why are they not picking the Morgana? Maybe this is the answer because Senna is often still on the board, still available, and still putting out significant amount of damage. Dear goodness.
My gosh.
Lafayette picks up an elimination for his side, and now there's an open tower with no one to contest it.
What a phenomenal job. This is a very comfortable bottom lane for Boise State. They've done this before. And again, the amount of pressure they are exuding here. Sorry, I was just drinking something. Look at how much time and space they bought for this Kale in the top lane. They are near 40 CS up. They have a bounty. they pretty much have the only 2 items that you need, Boots and the Nashor's Tooth. And they're on level 12. That means they've reached the 2nd tier of their ascension, and they're going to continue to do so because this ICCU team doesn't have anyone to respond to the top lane.
I mean, that's what happens when you allow your top laner to get as many tower plates as possible. We didn't see if they got all 5, but we did see they definitely got at least 4 of them. So that is a very happy Kayle, even if she doesn't have any eliminations for that extra gold.
Nice rotation. The triple actual coming up here from the top side. It's going to be Kayle 1v2 for now because Annie didn't back away, and that was the wrong call. He needed that crucial stun. Kayle's going to wait for the ultimate from Garen, trying to do what they can to kite out. Annie, again, still not rotating. Knight will tick down. They will actually block the Garen ult with their ult. Kayle doing a phenomenal job. A nice stunner to tower. The flash will be given over, but it was just trying to get the command shockwave in position. Not necessary, as actually this Annie player, Cersei, will pick up a double kill. This is easily becoming this ICCU team's win condition is off the engages and just raw damage output from this Annie.
Yeah, if you want to get on top of some of these champions, you got to pay attention to their crucial cooldowns. For example, this Kayle here, Divine Intervention completely shut down Garen's ability to land that final blow on her. You need to pay attention to when that ability is up or have ways around it. For example, you either wait, you bait out the ultimate, or of course, you silence her and then drop the ultimate so she can't cast it.
And look at this build pickup here, going from the Nashor's Tooth immediately into the Rylai's. Oh my goodness, Lafayette gets the instant one-shot. Oh, here comes the Ezreal True Shot Barrage. We'll find its mark, and Lafayette again setting up another 2 kills for this BSU bottom lane. Or are they done yet? They might look for 3 here. So much damage being given over to Graves. Why are you quick drawing forward? ICCU, you're trying to cash a check. You don't have the balance to sustain. That's just bounce.
We're going to find one
Not
more
done yet.
catch out. Command Shockwave
Timber's
is going to
be
pick up
coming
that
out.
elimination.
Oh my goodness.
And looking
Just the
at
Shockwave alone.
one more dragon over to the side of Boise State. That is going to be the Inferno for them. One more dragon, and they will have the soul. Go Green Team completely uncontesting on that front now. One thing I do think about that Crystal Scepter, I think it's a great pickup because it gives you a slow on every single time you deal ability damage, and with that Nashor's Tooth, you're going to be dealing ability damage on every auto attack and your Kayle, so you're going to be getting more of those speeding up, stacking over time. Not only is it great for chasing people down, but it's also great for kiting out opponents, and if you look at the Green Team, they don't have a lot of range outside of the Morgana.
Oh my goodness. I lied. Boise State picked the Clickheads team. They're playing Call of Duty with this bottom lane. Lafayette is just right-clicking every member of this ICCU squad, and they have no way to deal with it. Morgana's sitting on Ardent Sensor and Boots of Swiftness. In this situation, with how auto-attack focused Boise State is, and engage in an incredible blow-up, doesn't matter if you can click heads when you can just get a giant Robo-Bear dropped on it. Again, the win condition is now almost more apparent than ever for this Go Green team. It's going to be this Annie 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, looking at the side of the Go Green Team, one thing they do have heavily in their advantage is that they have a lot of burst. Between Annie, Graves, and Garen, all of them are capable of dealing a lot of damage to key targets and eliminating them quickly. But it's going to be a matter of can they get on top of those targets. They need to find flanks through the jungle. They need to have vision control. They need to have the movement abilities that would get them into range to drop that burst on their opponents because all of their strong burst champions have such short range.
Yeah, except the Super Mega Death Rocket. That is something we need to consider in terms of something that Boise State has to be fearful of because, as you've already mentioned, the damage combo between the top 3 members of this Go Green team is huge. But to execute things off, the final nail in the coffin, possibly for Boise State, could be that execute damage from Jinx's ult. And they desperately need to get some assists or anything on the board here for this Jinx.
It is 8-18, 10 eliminations down, and that is unfortunate. Lafayette, though, so far ahead, destroys Roman right there in the command shockwave comes out, not able to take Annie out, but that is going to be followed up. Virana going to get that elimination.
A nice commitment here in communication. Say, hey, I can get this Annie dangerously low. Cosmobuster almost puts himself in a dangerous position, but with the command shield, protection, and everything, armor and magic are just coming out, along with the barrier, that short cooldown summoner spell, Jax was more than happy to back up that play. And as we can clearly see, Lafayette, I would be surprised to say that they don't have the most money in the game, considering they have Umbro-Glaven and an IE at 22 minutes. That's incredible for a support.
Yeah, and unfortunately, looks like Jax is going to get caught out in the opposing jungle. He is still very tanky, does pop the ultimate. There's the counter-strike. Nobody to hit with it, though. Masterful dodge there of the zap. Able to jump away to the Ezreal. The ultimate comes through, giving him a shield. Could they turn this around? It is a 2 versus 3.
Oh my goodness!
Make that now a 3 versus 3. Dark Moon Horizon comes over
Oh!
the horizon. Picks up a double kill.
Echo!
Jinx is bleeding out a health bar in the back line. Jax, no, triple kill. But Kale is now here. Quadra!
Give them in the penta!
There can't be a penta. Garrett's on the other side of the map, but Lafayette is going to chase after him. He doesn't have the TP. That's the downside of taking the Ignite. You don't have the ability to join your team. Bleeding health bars. Thankfully, he is just barely able to get out, but they are going to lose a tower. They're going to lose an inhibitor. And if they choose to keep on pushing, Boise State might choose to take the game.
It might be a little bit too early to call the game yet, Glovely, but they are going to continue to put themselves in the commanding position to just completely dominate. They are not going to get out of this driver's seat unless they make not only one, not only two, but 3 back-to-back huge mistakes. That's good. That's what it's going to take for this Go Green team to overcome this 15,000 gold deficit.
There is one bright, shining hope on the horizon. There is a dragon up very shortly. If Go Green Team is able to pick that up, having that Infernal Drake on their side will make their burst that much more powerful and might allow them to survive for multiple Drakes. If you are able to get enough Infernal Drakes that you can simply just blow Kale up before she can ult, you'll have a much easier time as the game goes on. And he does find the Kale out, gets the stun. Is it going to be enough damage? Does not commit the ultimate. That is the shutdown for the Annie.
They didn't have it. They couldn't stop themselves from being bursted. What's more questionable is the fact that they just walked into the side of Go Green without any wards, not dropping anything. I guess their trinket was on cooldown, and this is exactly what you were mentioning, Lovely. This potentially could be the win condition here for this Go Green team. They have the potential of getting 4 Infernals. With their already bursty team, it could be too much for Boise State to survive. Jackson to go in for an engage. Right and I will get one, but he will fall on the backside. Ultimate will come out here from this Senna. They are really able to heal. The Command Shockwave will hit nothing. And it's just Ezreal and Orianna versus the world, but they might be able to do it. What is that damage? Boise State turning around this fight on its head.
Because he went
Garen gonna be able to
No,
because unfortunately not. A Boise State team wipe coming out.
Because the Garen went and tried to turn after the Jax, he wasn't able to turn back on his team and be that front line for them, and it cost them dearly. So much damage put onto their very vulnerable backline members. They did, however, pick up that Infernal Drake, and that may allow them to survive. They are going to see some damage to their base, lose at least a tower before they're able to get those respawn timers done.
Yeah, another inhibitor gonna fall over here on the side of the Go Green team base. Does offer them an opportunity to farm. 25 minutes. Super minions aren't the strongest, but they really don't have a tremendous amount of wave clear. Another tower gonna fall over here for the side of the Go Green team. Ezreal walking away 8-0 and 11 on this Ezreal, and with this arcane shift available, not gonna be able to find him out. This is an interesting play. Boise State's keeping the pressure here in the top side, Lovely, so they can go and get the 2-man on this Baron. And I don't think the ICCU has an idea of what's happening.
Yeah, not to mention they're having a really difficult time finding their way into these fights. They do have some tools, but unfortunately the side of Boise State has so much ability damage now. They are going to be easily able to take this Baron. It looks like they're going to back off and get one more buy before they attempt to siege the base.
Yeah, 17,000 gold. This is the time to try and end the game. You have the Baron. You have every inhibitor exposed. Another stun coming out here. The root is not going to be enough here for the side of Boise State, and they could have used that pick potential to quickly end the game, but they're more than comfortable just escorting these minions. All 5 members walking down the mid lane. Are they able to find out this Morgana? The Black Shield will come out to deter any sort of engage here, but Easily probably could have popped that with just a QW combo here. The Distortion, so much damage here on this Orianna. They're going to take in kind and with little opposition this middle inhibitor. And you have to wonder, are they going to go straight for the end, or are they going to rotate here to the top inhibitor to secure the win? They are going to do the nice conservative play, getting every inhibitor down, just in case things go awry here. They all want to make sure they're in the driver's seat, and this cannon is 100% uncontested from the side of ICCU. Here's the engage. Nice divine intervention here from the side of Kale. Will be huge. Dawning Shadows will come out and provide a huge shield from the side of Boise State. Garrett is getting decimated. Super Mega Death Rocket will come out, but Tademon Cried will bring tears to the eyes of every ICCU fan in the chat as Boise State. Oh, the Quadrum! Holy cow! The 4-man shockwave! The pentakill! Pentakill! What?
Let me tell you, it feels awful to get pentakilled in your own base. That is going to be the conclusion of that match. You don't let a Kale scale up like that, and that is exactly why.
I can't put my arms down. I knew that the game went awry. Sure, that's what happens sometimes when two teams meet for the first time on the Rift. But to have a pentakill in the first game, we don't even see pentakills in the regular season for Boise State.
Now, let's be totally fair. It happened in the very last moments of the game. The game was effectively already over when it happened, so that's not something that necessarily needs to hurt your morale. It can hurt a little bit just seeing that word pop up on the screen. Certainly, I don't want to be on the receiving end of a pentakill anytime soon. But overall, let's look at what they did right, what they did wrong. Let's make this a learning experience for both teams. So starting things off, I think the Morgana was a good pick, but the downside to that is there's a lot of physical damage on the other side coming through. You need to be able to play around that, so the timing on your Black Shields needs to be when that crowd control is about to hit. I think you can also use that Black Shield as a way to enable your other champions to close the gap more easily, so use it on Annie or Garen to get them into the melee range where they can be effective.
Yeah, and I think another thing of note to kind of harp on was the way that the jungle played around that map. ICCU had a huge opportunity to capitalize on that Kale's weak early game pre-6. Garen and Graves has more than enough damage, especially with that Ignite, to take advantage of the Kale's short range. I'm really surprised that the Graves spent so much time in the bottom lane, but that's kind of, you know, on the other side of the conversation, that's something that we can praise about Boise State, was they put so much pressure exclusively in the bottom lane that they felt like they pushed every member of this Go Green team down there in that bottom lane.
We are having a substitution here. Salazan is going to come in, replace one of the team members here as we go into our next game.
And replacing no more
replacing
Hayden, I
Veigar.
believe, right?
Yeah. Obviously
so
not Veigar the champion,
production.
but thank you, production, for giving us this new information. As you can see on your screen, this new player coming into the game. We'll see how that changes up Boise State's roster.
It looks like, I do believe that ICCU has a roster swap as well. They swapped out their Annie player for another member from their team as well. So that could potentially be a nice mix-up. We saw how well the Annie did, kind of the shining star for the team. Maybe this is a potential swap for a more carry-oriented mid-lane player. You have that much potential as a team, you know, putting that many resources in your mid lane. Maybe they want to switch to someone who's more comfortable on like a hyper-carry assassin.
Certainly, and the ability for an assassin to roam could be a huge help to those lanes. We did see that both Garen and that bot lane with the Jinx and the Morgana were struggling a little bit, while the Annie was doing quite well for herself. If she had been able to roam and affect those lanes, that could have turned things around for them. So that's definitely a potential avenue for them to take things back here on Summoner's Rift.
I do have to say that both teams are playing really well. Boise State just played to their win condition, which was to scale specifically, and you got to give praise to both teams.
We are here playing against the Idaho Central Credit Union with their corporate gaming teams, where the employees take on some of the best gamers in Idaho. They're known as the Green Team. Here they are taking on a top varsity program in Boise State University, and they are challenging us across 6 titles: StarCraft, Valorant, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Rocket League, Overwatch, and now League of Legends for the grand finale.
Yeah, and they have one game under their belt. So obviously, these teams that even Idaho Central Credit Union can, find amidst their employees and their workers, their shining stars on the business front. They are also taking care of business here on the gaming and kind of casual front as well. Big gaming taking kind of a back seat, especially when it comes to competition, giving an opportunity for both of these teams to shine on this competitive stage shows that there's talent everywhere. It's awesome.
Definitely, and they've shown that they're definitely no pushovers in any position. Green team has, of course, they won the Modern Warfare. They put up a great fight today in Rocket League as well. It was very close, far closer than any of us expected when you consider how good our Rocket League team is. We're talking championship-winning team here, but now we're going into League of Legends. It's a very different game from the previous two, and they're fielding some of the same players. So you have to wonder just how much of your expertise can be spread across all of these different games. I mean, I know myself that I love to play Overwatch, but I'm nowhere near as good at Overwatch as I am at League of Legends because that's where I put my focus.
Yeah, and speaking of good, I mean, this is a huge eye-opening opportunity to the potential talent in the Valley. You guys, we're watching, as casters, we have our own set of degrees of skill. But if you're at home watching it and you feel like you can do better, feel free to, go through the channels to become a player. Go to boisestate.edu/esports and see what kind of opportunities are there for you. You might not get as cool the light setup as I have for Boise State support, but you can support them there on the Rift. You can support them there on New Bonnie. You can support them on Verdansk. Wherever your map is, you got to try. There's no harm in looking into it.
Now we are preparing ourselves for Game 2. So immediate thoughts, what do you want to see going into this Baratel?
I want to see Cosmobuster on this Zoe. I think, yes, the Orianna, fantastic player. Being the big team member that Orianna is, it's really nice to see when it does work out. I just want to see Cosmobuster just style on anybody with this Zoe, but we'll have to see.
Picks and bans going through. Hecarim going to be the first ban from the side of Boise State. Getting the horse off. Senna is going to be the ban. I think that was a very wise decision, given how much influence she had in that bottom lane with her physical damage output, with the root, with the ultimate. Very good pairing there. Caitlyn going to be taken away by Boise State. Another great bot lane marksman. Very safe. Great if you are learning how to play the game. I personally recommend her. Maokai there going to be banned away there. Could be trying to keep that away from a potential Garen matchup, while Annie is going to be the ban there, so we will not see her in Game 2. I'm sure Dr. Haskell is crying tears of sadness as Ezreal going to be the final ban here. We're going to get into our first pick of the game for Boise State.
We'll have to see if they want to pick the last remaining ADC that's available in the meta, if you will. And first drafting Ashe is not necessarily the worst thing, but a jungle potential Shyvana coming out from the side of Boise State. This could be spicy.
Now, when you think Shyvana, if there's, she is a champion that I think is due for a rework.
Okay.
When you see Shaco on the other side, that's a champion that's ruined a lot of my solo queue games, whether it's on my team or the opposition. Does have a lot of trickstery ways, dropping those jack-in-the-boxes, and Elise, so
wait a second.
That Shaco could be going into a lane, or the Elises. There was a period of time where we saw Elise as a top laner, and in my own games I've seen Shaco play top or support. Maybe Kha'Zix is going to get picked up on the other side. It could be Shyvana has been a laner before she was a jungler. Kha'Zix has been played mid lane before. It is possible we could see jungle champions from everyone. It is going to be the Zoe pickup. There we go. We know Cosmobuster loves this champion. He's very good at it. It was terrifying in the production versus Rocket League game that we had last year. So very powerful champion, one to keep an eye on here. I believe we answered it with a Zyra, and it's going to be Draven on the other side. Very risk-reward champion for that bot lane.
Yeah, and it's possible, now that things are kind of emerging to be more meta, it's not going to be the 5v5 all junglers matchup. Shyvana most likely will be going top lane. AD Shyvana in the top lane with Conqueror. She's relatively safe. She has a lot of really good trade paths. The Flame Breath gives her so much diverse damage, so it might be something that they're trying to do there in the top lane. Kha'Zix's going to most likely be in the jungle. Zoe in the mid lane. This Shaco pick, though, if this isn't Elise in that top lane for that weird base percentage health kind of scaling, this could be Shaco support, and that is probably one of the most annoying supports to play against in this game.
So Thresh, Morgana, Samira taken off the table. Yes, you want to remove that Samira. She is a terrifying AD carry. As soon as she hits that Essence Reaver, there is no stopping her. Darius going to be the final ban away. Interesting ban by Boise State. Are they running Garen? Are they running?
Maybe.
Garen Yumi is still up on the board. I don't think
That's
it's likely, but like I can hope and pray.
They gave me what I want. They should give you what you want. Honestly.
Yeah, I want to see Boise State run the Garen. Soraka is going to be the pickup there from the side of ICCU. So great champion for sustaining your partner there in the lane. We've seen Dean play a very aggressive version of it, so you can play either aggressive or passive with it. And of course, it's also a great champion for denying stuff. Jhin is going to be the pickup there for Boise State as their marksman in the bot lane, most likely. One more pickup will be available for them. It is going to be Yumi, but there's no Garen, and that makes me very sad.
Yeah, and to be honest, the Soraka doesn't
There's
necessarily
the
have to be a support. There's the Garen, though. They need to see to swap over. So what does this mean? It could still be Shaka support with this Soraka mid. I can't imagine Shaka going anywhere else because I don't think that Elise is top lane with Garen here, and I don't think that Elise mid is good anymore.
It could be a Shaco mid. That's an opportunity for you with the Elise jungle, with the Garen. Garen will almost certainly go
Garen
top.
has to be top, right?
Now, I've played Garen in a lot of different positions. Don't play him in the bot lane unless you have a Yumi, just for you people at home, and even then, make sure the Yumi is in a voice call with you because that's really hard to coordinate. It's not recommended. But Garen mid is actually a really viable choice. You pick up your Conqueror as usual, and then for your secondary, you go Domination, you get Relentless Hunter, and then you roam. You play a roaming jungler. You pick up a Dead Man's Plate as soon as you can, and use that to get across the map to affect your lanes. That being said, we did see the Garen being played in the top lane. Being up against Zoe, that's a rough matchup as someone who's played it. You can build up the tenacity to be able to survive the Sleepy Trouble bubble, to get it off of you quick enough that you could dodge the Paddle Star afterwards, but it's very tricky to do. You need to max out your stacks there on Legend Tenacity with the Mercury Treads and press W at the exact right moment. It's very, very difficult. I'm assuming this Garen's going to the top lane. I'm also going to guess it's going to be Shaco mid lane. That's my prediction.
I think it's the lane Soraka, and I think it's Shaco support. Because Shaco mid... Shaco's a champion that extensively suffers from needing to get himself really ahead, because he can abuse item power spikes incredibly well. And if he can't farm in the mid lane, laning against Zoe would almost indicate that you don't want that Shaco anywhere near a lane at all. Support will be easy because, laning against even just Jhin, you have just the two Shiv Poison. That's a targeted ability. You are available to always get that Frostfang proc off the moment you need to, and that will give you enough money to get the AP build online. But yeah, playing Shaco as extensively as I have, I'm a strict jungle Shaco main. I have seen him pulled in the top lane for that weird pink ward type cheese, and then in the support role as well, because again, Frostfang is it's a really dumb item. You getting money for being aggressive is really weird.
I mean, it does get you involved in the play, and I believe that's what Riot was going for, to make supports more involved, so they're not just all the Soraka sit back and heal while my laner does all the actual work. But going into this, I'm still going to disagree with you. I think the Shaco is a good mid lane pick, especially into the Zoe. You drop a Jack in the box. This is Boise State up against ICCU here in a show match on Summoner's Rift. Boise State going to take them on here one more time, potentially 2 more times if ICCU can manage to turn this around in Game 2.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty close because, again, we look at the draft, despite lane assignments. Look at how much potential both of these teams have. We talked about Burst before. Now we have Boise State playing potentially this AP Shyvana, Zoe in the mid lane, and Jhin. Not only is it Burst, but it's Burst from off the screen. And the only person that might be able to defend against it can potentially be that Garen. So this is going to be a moment for ICCU as a team to realize that, hey, we really only have one front line. And if they don't utilize it correctly, the rest of their lineup is just too squishy to face up against Boise State.
Indeed, and when you're talking about team fights, it's all about that positioning. Where is your champion in the team fight? You got to have that Garen out front, and you got to have the other champions in position to support him when he goes in, or to back him up once he is forced to back off because he's taken so much damage for his team. How many cooldowns can you get your opposition to burn on the Garen so that the rest of your team can come up behind you and have a successful team fight when you're done?
Adversely, too, not only the Garen, but depending on the build path for the Shaco, that clone can absorb so many crucial abilities as well, kind of acting like a pseudo frontline because you don't care if they die. And if you're AP Shaco, you want them to die. It's actually top Elise. I'm flabbergasted. This can't be Draven mid, can it?
There's no way. It's
certainly
not impossible. It looks like, oh, here we go. We're seeing some rearrangement
it's lane
here.
Elise.
There we go. It is
it's
mid lane Elise. So that's we were talking about an assassin champion with the ability to roam. Elise does fit that build. We do see an early catch up by Garen, drops the judgment. They're able to get some decent damage onto the Shyvana as she is forced to walk away. But some health bars are going to be slightly lowered in exchange here. Everyone setting up now. No crazy invades.
No crazy invades. I think that this Elise pick is kind of closet busted because if you get hit by Sleepy Trouble Bubble while you're drowsy, you can repel and negate being put to sleep. That is like the only caveat to this weird lane matchup.
Well, on top of that, you also have the spiderlings that can come out in front of you and take shots for you. You could use them to either block the Paddle Star or the Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
They can walk in, true.
So they definitely have that opportunity. Meanwhile, in the top lane, it's going to be Garen Shyvana, and I will admit that this is not a matchup I'm particularly familiar with here. But based on how it goes,
so tough.
Shyvana does have the ranged advantage here, is able to use that Flame Breath, no mana cost here. Elise going to take over half her health there from that exchange. We know how strong Cosmo Buster is on that Zoe, so something you've got to be really careful of as the judgment comes through. Is forced to back away. There's the Paddle Star. First blood to mid lane. Ladies and gentlemen, this could be a rough game.
Yeah, we want to keep our eyes on this Zoe mid lane. We've seen this again before. It's incredibly strong. A Knight coming out here. The Exhaust will come out as well here in the top lane. Nice trade of summoners. But Tadim and Pride walks away the victor. Yes, the health is even, but they still remain their flash, which means they can make some cheeky plays. The way that this top lane works is if Shyvana can get Flame Breath, the W, and 1 Q off, Garen loses the trade. If she gets silenced before she can Q, Garen wins the trade. So it's going to be specifically up to that.
I think there's
nice
also
here and a route to follow. A lot of damage. The Exhaust is going to come out here actually from ICCU, and the Starfall will give another slow, but the Summoner heal here causes me to have hiccups as Boise State almost gets first blood here in the bottom lane. Yes, of course, Cosmo Buster gets the first blood in general, but you know, with the way that this bottom lane works, if Boise State gets anywhere behind with Yuumi on their team, it's a 1v2, and that's not going to work out too well for this Jhin.
Yeah, the thing about Draven is that he is high risk, but he is also high reward, and he has a lot of damage in that early game. We did see the silence come out as the jungler comes in.
Out the 2-ship poison, and the flash is going to be expended as well. Luckily enough, Boise State creating so much distance with that Nimbus cloak active, getting that flash and then getting the movement speed to follow suit. That was almost assuredly death, though, especially with the Shaka roam. We've all been victims of a brutal Shaco gank, and as an ADC, that's the last champion you want to see your enemy draft.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I've lost a lot of solo queue games to it. And also added to that is the fact that because they are running the Yuumi, there we go, good attempted engage there, but Garen is the one who ends up winning in that trade-off here. But there we go, back and forth. We do have an engagement in that mid lane, going to take quite a fair bit of damage, but is going to survive. Jack in the Box forces Zoe away.
Oh, that was the only time into level 6 that Shyvana could fight Garen, and even then, it wasn't going to end up working. You need to fight in the minions to cause him to take all that extra damage. That is why Demon Pride continues to lose these trades, as he gets the twin bite off, but when you auto attack, you immediately get all that minion aggro, and it's just too much.
You do see quick engagement here in the jungle. Dodges the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. It's not a problem. They are getting collapsed on here, though. Are going to take a decent amount of damage. Kha'Zix's a bit low. It is going to be back. Both sides are going to back away. No summoner spells spent anywhere. Overall, successful invade for Go Green team. Shyvana, though, getting caught out. Unfortunately, forced to burn the flash. Is going to get caught out. That's going to go over to the Shaco here. We see the jump over the wall.
Has both summoners.
You're isolated, but you have the Spiderlings. There's the flash. Lafayette gets the elimination, but is going to be traded back over to Cosmo Buster, who picks up Roman.
And Shyvana gets themselves in position quick enough to get an assist set, too. So a lot of gold going over to Boise State. They put themselves about 500 in the lead. Not really too much to break the bank, but tremendous amount of that gold advantage is here on this mid laner. And Zoe's the last champion you want to have any sort of advantage here in terms of gold.
Definitely.
Nice trade here from this. Are they going to be able to turn on it? No. Unfortunately, the silence as well as the knockback here from Crimson Hawk on this Jhin. He's doing a phenomenal job of making sure that both the boots and the fleet footwork are used to such an extent that he just pretty much has an easy lane here in the bottom lane. Ignite going to come out here on Cosmo Buster. He does going to use, again, the barrier, going to keep himself safe. As the top lane, the exhaust as well as the dragon will come out. Kha'Zix will be here to gank. Garen's only level 6. He's not going to be able to do much, as so much damage in the Dark Harvest will be collected. So much damage being over for that one. And another engage here in the bottom lane. Everywhere, Boise State fighting.
Yeah, unfortunate situation there up in that top lane. Sometimes the gank comes and you're just overextended. You got to keep an eye out. He did not, in fact, he did, in fact, have wards available to him. Hard to tell. My screen's a little further away from me, but looking at this bottom lane here, the Soraka, a champion that's really great at slowing things down. We do see the Shaco come out, catching the Shyvana underneath the tower, but as long as she doesn't fight him back there, she's going to be fairly safe, is able to walk out. Only takes one tower shot, but it's going to be forced to back away.
She's going to be forced to back away. She has no flash. Garen's flash is soon online, so as long as he staves off his aggression until he can get that flash ultimate combo, it's going to be huge. And just like that, this is exactly the lane that Boise State wants to focus on the most, as this mid lane. Yes, Elise had a nice trade based off their base damage. Going looks like possibly Rod of Ages first item just to keep themselves safe against the Zoe matchup. A nice engage. Judgment will come out. The strike will come out as well, but not enough damage. The flash will be given, but he doesn't get himself in range for the final auto, as the Demon Pride again gets away when they shouldn't. This ICCU team is just so close to capitalizing, but another misplay there.
For you Garen players at home, make sure that you're already in range when you start your Judgment, because every tick of damage matters. One more tick of damage, or even just having Ignite up, would have turned that into an elimination for him. Not able to follow the Zoe over the wall with that volatile Spiderling is going to be very low, so does have to play very carefully. One Paddle Star, one Sleepy Trouble Bubble leading up to it is all it will take to eliminate that Elise.
Does get some nice honey fruit, if you will. Not enough to stave off. There's going to be enough to stave off the one combo from Cosmo Buster. Does miss the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, goes walls away. A nice possible engage. They're going to fight over vision here at the top lane. The Twin Bite will come out. Does miss the Flame Breath, which should deter all engage here from the Shyvana player. Cosmo Buster going to go over the wall. He's going to get found out from Elise. Kha'Zix will fight 1v2 against Soraka and Shaco. He does get the Dark Harvest proc, but it's not enough. You cannot 1v3, my friend. Unfortunately, Roman's going to pick up one, and again, We talked about already champions you don't want to see an advantage on. That's going to be one over to the side of this ICCU team. Oh, but he gets the trade. Unfortunately, for Cosmo Buster, he does fall. He does get one. But as we mentioned before, champions you don't want to see leads on Glovely. Shaco definitely pretty much right next to Zoe on the list.
Yeah, although unfortunately they did avoid giving that elimination over to the Draven, which could have catapulted him far into the lead now. We are at almost 10 minutes into the game. Dragon now is available. Draven very low. Shaco is forced to flash over the wall. Garen is here, does drop the Ignite, but doesn't have ultimate available, is forced to back away. Great healing from Soraka, but it's not enough to save Roman as the bot lane comes through. Yumi opens up the Lost Chapter and is able to pick up the elimination onto Crimson Hawk. He's going to lose all of those stacks that he's been building up.
Curtain Call is going to come out. 2 shots miss. The third one and the fourth one will miss as well. And the Scorcher Soraka. But this Prowl Strike will get onto this Elise here in the mid lane. Luckily, they are able to Q in their Spider form, which gives you kind of a pseudo dash. Interesting build path coming out in the top lane. Boise State finds ICCU trying to push their advantage by taking the Dragon and completely converge, get themselves the only Infernal of the game. And Zoe with Infernal, it's a rough go here in the mid lane now.
Yeah, definitely. As Zoe picks up that Infernal, she's going to be able to stack up that AP damage. And when we were talking earlier about burst champions, nothing suits a burst champion better than having more damage on all of that burst. Right. And Yumi amplifies that so easily as Garen trying to engage on that Shyvana. Does not have the ability to close the gap. You have to watch out for that Flame Breath now that she is in Dragon form. Deals so much damage, especially if you're building AP.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble, that's exactly the interaction we talked about, getting the repel out. He does have Redemption, he pops Barrier, he pops Redemption, isn't going to be enough to save him. He does flash himself out, he has 1 HP! And he gets himself out of dodge!
Oh, that feels bad.
Redemption. Shaco will pop the clone, will it be enough? They do not know where the real one is, he's able to hallucinate himself away. Are they going to be able to continue to push forward? Kha'Zix's going to do what he can to get that Taste of Fear passive, but is it enough? They are going to re-engage here. They pop the clone. A lot of damage coming over to the isolated Shaco. This is going to deter them from turning around. Deadly Flourish will come out here in the bottom lane, as I do think Boise State wants to fight in every lane yet again.
Definitely. They're playing this very aggressively. And they have the expertise to do so, as well as a sizable lead here. They have a 1K gold lead. We do see the Kha'Zix come in. Unfortunately, that's another halving of the stacks for Draven, and they pick up the Soraka to boot. Now they have an open bot lane, and that's going to give them plenty of time to pick up some plates.
Yeah, enough time to get some plates. What I think is most important is, it is, of course, a feast or famine mentality when you take Dark Harvest. But when you get a gank in the bottom lane and get 2 kills, you get 2 stacks of Dark Harvest on probably your already 6 or 7 stacks. That's a super dangerous Kha'Zix, and he doesn't even have a finished lethality item.
Yeah, and that was another thing we mentioned going into this. Their only frontliner, the only tanky member, is that Garen. And currently, he hasn't built too much tank for himself aside from the components to fade. He does drop Demacia and Justice way early there, as well as the Ignite. Tries to go back in. Is he going to follow up? No, actually. Shyvana comes back into him, but she has the ultimate available, is able to safely get away.
Flame Breath will come out, do a nice chunk of damage. The Aegis of the Legion is not going to be enough to stave off Garen, but I can see the intention of trying to get that Death Stance as soon as possible. That Justice was really weird to me, though.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on the justification of it myself. Maybe he's just trying to get her low. We do have, however, closing in. Curtain Call does come out, trying to find that Soraka. That's 2 shots into 3.
Oh my goodness!
Raven is just gone, exploded. We see what the Yumi does for you. Soraka now is going to get caught out by that final chapter. Lafayette picks up the elimination.
Another fantastic play in Boise State. There really isn't another lane that needs the attention besides bottom lane. So them going in and continuing to put the extra damage, just the amount of just raw execute damage that this Boise State squad has. We saw the Taste of Fear come out in addition to that 3rd and 4th shot, and Draven's health bar evaporated. Much like this mid lane, Elise is going to repel, but it's a little bit too late. The wish will come out, but they wish that they didn't have to use it like that. Cosmo Buster doing phenomenal work. And it's possible that the Boise State team is going to get the 4th plate in the bottom lane. Ignite going to come up from Shaco. He does have Halo Blades. He's going to dodge possibly the Crumble Bubble. He does not. He does get hit by it. Elise will continue to dive here and actually get executed. They waited 15 seconds. And a nice showing here of jungle mid lane synergy is going to get a crucial member of Boise State shut down.
However, if there's one worry I have, is that Elise going to scale? Because as a champion, Elise doesn't really have the greatest AP scaling, which means even if you're getting her all of these eliminations, if she's not able to translate them into roams and damage across the other lanes, how much is she really going to be able to put out as the game carries on? Because in many cases, Elise kind of just becomes a stun bot later on in the game, and that's not something you need for the most fed member of your team.
Yeah, she is a champion that strictly scales horribly and is only there for what her base damage is for. And yes, she will continue to be able to offer that. But when it comes to if you want to have money on Elise versus wanting to have money on Zoe, 9 times out of 10, you're going to pick the Zoe to have the money. Unfortunately for the Soraka, they are going to get the ward down. They do know that Lafayette's here, but is it enough? It's not going to be able to deter much. The silence will come out, but this double ultimate double kill going to be given over to Vida Na this time on this Jhin. They are taking off in terms of lead. They did suffer a little bit of the early game, but now they're coming back in full stride. Nice repel, but you did get yourself closer to the Kha'Zix. Not where you wanted. The Taster will come out. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will not be enough. The Ignite's going to be given over, and Shaco actually being exactly where they need to at the right time, getting themselves another double kill. This potentially could be the win condition this time for ICCU.
Meanwhile, up in the top lane, things are calm, peaceful, relaxed. Sometimes top lane is just an island. Sometimes it's just a farm. You know, I'm gonna put my potatoes over here, my turnips over here, maybe make a nice row of cabbages, and oh, hey, the jungler's here. Hello, friend.
I do wonder, as an engage comes out here in the top lane, Exhaust and Ignite will be given over. Both of these two kind of burst-heavy, kind of pseudo-DPS top laners are going to just exchange blows. Not much is going to result of it. Shaka's going to invade here. Lafayette doesn't know. He's going to walk into one box. He would dodge the other one. The leap will be enough. A lot of damage being given over, actually, to Shaco. Do they pick the right one? The wish will come out. They did actually pick the perfect Shaco. And that spells demise here for this invade. Unfortunately, oh my goodness, where Soraka was at 100-0. That's exactly the comp that Boise State has here. The moment that you get found out, if Boise State can capitalize, they capitalize incredibly hard.
Yeah, and once more, the only member of theirs that has the ability to answer that burst, not available for them on the other side. Has the Ignite instead of the teleport. There's another elimination onto the Elise. Things looking very dire for ICCU, despite it still being fairly early in the game.
Fairly early, but a 5k gold lead pre-20 minutes is not a good sign. Let's go ahead and make that a 6k gold lead almost. Garen does get an elimination, yes, but they do lose second tower. And that's not looking too good. I do want to ask you this question. No, I can't. Unfortunately, another engager is going to be given over. Shaco going to hallucinate himself over the wall. Is it enough, though? He's going to get turned on. Ignite will be taken back. And Cosmo Buster says, do not gank me. I will hurt you.
Yeah, remind me to ban that the next time we play against Cosmo Buster, because oh my goodness, the way he was weaving around that lane, weaving around the minions just to line up all of his skill shots was incredible to watch.
It's almost like he plays Rocket League or something, a game where you also have to be incredibly precise with some weird angles.
I mean, I don't have mechanical skill.
The call will be coming out here. They're going to go for the Soraka, which is the wiser choice out of the two. Getting your heal bot down low, considering that she uses health as a resource to heal. Great idea here from Boise State. They want to continue to siege this tower. I did want to briefly ask you a question, Lovely. We saw Garen sit on the longsword in Ruby Crystal. Why, oh why, did they not first build Steric's Gauge against this first team?
Personally, oh, here we go. Quick engagement there in the bottom lane. Draven still not able to do enough damage to find his first elimination. The Lost Chapter is going to come out, picks up one. Shaco, however, appears, and that is this sad cat being forced to run away. Is she going to get caught now? Elise does catch her out, so that's going to be 2 eliminations for the green team. That's the downside of playing the Yuumi, is that whenever your bunny gets caught and you don't have someone to jump to, you're dead too.
Yeah, and then even more so, typically you don't see Yumi's taking the flash, so normally they would be even more of a sitting duck there. I do have to question, though, Yumi was almost certifiably dead. Why let your Elise get another kill when anyone could have benefited more from that money?
I mean, it's possible that they're trying to use Elise as this carry. She is putting out quite a fair bit of damage. She also has the potential to become a tank. We do see she's picked up the Abyssal Mask, so maybe they're using her as an alternative way to create anti-burst, sort of like the Garen, except, you know, with more stun potential. They are fighting here underneath this tower.
Shyvana will get ignited. The final tower shot will not dip them low enough. The ignite will, though, as Boise State picks up a 3rd tower for themselves. But again, the Shyvana will be the sacrifice for said tower. Straka's actually going to run into the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. That is almost 100% death. This curtain call will be given out. Will they be able to track down the target? The slow will give over to Draven. Half his health will be gone. And Boise State will continue to see Jalip over the wall with the Yuumi support. Cocoon will miss here. The Zoomies will be given over here. It's a prowling projectile. A lot of damage being given over to Boise State. Vita is just trying to get the tower under attack by the minions. Shelly will actually see the rift here between the 2 towers. This double leap combo. The nice reset here given over to Lafayette. Tower will be given over to Boise State. A 4th one to the 0 here on the side of ICCU. Shaka will find one. Ignite going to be given over. And again, the Halo Blades proving detrimental to this 1v1 potential here for Boise State against the Shaco.
So looking at what Boise State has to fear, what ICCU can still play through, we do have this Shaco 7-4-3 doing a great job for him. He's playing a lethality build, and on the side of Boise State, they don't have any tanks. They do have a Shyvana who's sort of acting as a pseudo tank with that Death Dance, but it's only giving you some tank stats. It's not giving you a whole ton of health. She has purchased the Bramble Vest to try and answer into the Garen, who has picked up that Black Cleaver for himself. Going to be able to shred through that armor. So you do still have opportunities, for yourself with this Shaco to assassinate those backline members, and you can set yourself up in a good position with the rest of your team. But unfortunately, the rest of your team needs to be able to create that pressure to draw the attention to themselves so that Shaco can get into a position to get those flanks off.
And I mean, it's really just a matter of them continuing to find those angles with the hallucinate over the wall. The clone is proving very successful for them as it continues to add the auto attack damage, but beyond that, despite them getting some kills here or there across the board, they really haven't picked up much in terms of objectives. We're sitting at 0 dragons, but more importantly, 0 towers. It looks like a fight's going to be given over. Shaka's going to get almost instantly deleted. This Kazik will find the mark. The lost chapters will come out here. The last chapter possibly for this book of success on the side of this Go Green team. They're going to be going straight to gray at the moment. Ignite will come out. No, Vita and Nay will actually take that kill with that 4th shot from the last and final curtain here. Curtain call will be given over. But what is the call from Boise State? As you can clearly see, they get an advantage and they immediately turn to Dragons. Shaco was trying to go for the steal. Hallucinate will be given over. Their clone will be used as well. They instantly pop the real one, and it is a near ace for Boise State. Unfortunately for them, Soraka did die so early that they were able to spawn before the Boise State team wipe could be played.
That would have been an amazing steal if he'd managed to pick it up. Maybe putting a Jack-in-the-Box middle over there would have given him enough time to get through. Boise State is going to pick up a tower right in front of the inhib there. That opens up the base. ICCU now needs to be very careful. There is a Kha'Zix trying to use his ultimate to get into position. Soraka very low in that back line. Is still going to commit to joining the fight with her team. It's a 4 versus 3 right now. 4 versus 4, sorry. The Yuumi is in fact still there. Sometimes it's hard to see her. Oh no, the Sleepy Trouble Bubble finds a target. Thankfully there's no follow-up, so Soraka does get to live through it this time.
Yeah, it's really scary right now. Shotgun's gonna go for the 1v1. He knows that the Void Assault is not available. The almost instant kill here for the side again of this Go Green team, and actually a 700 gold shutdown going over Shaco. If he wasn't the win condition before, he certainly is now.
Definitely Boise State able to close out that inhibitor. They're going to pick it up for themselves and back away. I think that's the smart move. Baron is up and available, although I'm not sure they have the damage to take it. Looks like they're just going to back and pick up their next set of items, but they do have a Shaco on the way. He is caught out, though, on one of Jin's traps. Is going to get eliminated there. Roman not able to follow up, but his team is in position. Sleepy Trouble Bubble finds their front line as the Lost Chapter also does.
Oh my goodness.
Garen spins through, drops the Demacian just a little too early to find an elimination, and now Vida Na on a killing spree here as we continue through to Demon Pride picks up Crimson Hawk, and Curtain Call does not find enough eliminations. Garen just does not have the damage as he is with the cleaver there. Not going to be able to follow up. And it's not building a damage build. Has to be that beefy front line for his team. And the downside is that he's not able to put enough damage onto those health bars to force them away. Looks like they are going to just back off, and now they have free access to this Baron.
Yeah, when it comes to in general, Shyvana, a lot of objective damage there. The Flame Breath, the Twin Fangs, the Burnout. But more importantly, having a Kha'Zix with involved Q. Oh, is he gonna? Oh my goodness, he just dies to the Baron. I was gonna say that Kha'Zix is great at taking objectives. Not by themselves though, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the downside. You gotta have some teammates there with you. Kha'Zix doesn't really have the damage, sustain, or tankiness to be able to get through that Baron health bar on his own. Bit of a dangerous position, though. It does stave off a bit more time for ICCU to potentially find themselves another objective. Baron, of course, going to be available. You can bait that out, but losing your Shaco early here is not the way to do it. Vida Na on a rampage now with this Jhin. So much damage coming out between the Jhin and the bonus damage he's getting from that Yuumi. Now 13, 2, and 5.
Yeah, all that adaptive force and a 10-stack Magi's here on this Yuumi is only going to continue to force whoever they're attached to almost hyperscale at this point. And yeah, unfortunately, with Baron up, trying to go for a risky invade on this Shaco, especially being the main proprietor of all your team's gold, not the wisest decision. I understand the intention. You're trying to look for a pick, and then you then can go for the Baron. But unfortunately, they don't put any boxes to scout. They don't use the Oracle's Lens to find anything out. Just like, oh my goodness! Draven gets instantly deleted. Kha'Zix is on a rampage. He will actually falter to the same burst style pattern of the Shaco. Shaco does not have ultimate. He does have hallucinate. The final chapter will be given out. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will put Shaco to sleep as Vida Na is unstoppable. He might be able to go for more here as the curtain call will be given out. Garen, you have to get out of that cone. It is going to spell true death for you as Boise State might potentially look to end the game here.
Unfortunately, nothing is tanky enough to survive that. He's going to get the execute there, so he's not going to give any gold over to the side of ICCU. One more turret down, two more turrets. Looks like they will fall. There is still the Draven, and that is a very low health bar. He could still potentially turn this around. Yuumi herself doesn't do a lot of damage to fight back, so Draven does have some potential here. Looks like he's going to take a lot of damage himself. Is he going to go for this turret?
Draven?
It looks like
Shaco?
No, he's not.
Shaco?
That's going to be the end of the game.
Wow.
So much.
So much damage. Hey, it's me. I'm back.
Hello.
Hey, Doc.
And here's what I was going to say, too. That, I mean, the Go Green team was really, really close. By my estimation, they were only 9 towers and a Nexus away from success there. They were on the cusp. They just needed to put those together in order and get there. But Boise State's going to be victorious in this game, and honestly, there was some really good stuff that happened there. They managed to pull off a couple of plays, but I felt like someone was a little bit judgy about when the Demacian Justice came out, and maybe just, you know,
Look,
maybe you
I
were.
got a lot of feelings about Garen, and whenever I see a Garen played, I
What?
gotta be like, what can I learn from this? What can they learn from this? Because there's always.
Do you play Garen?
I might play a little bit of Garen. He's a great champion for learning the game on.
Do you have
teaches
Garen pajamas?
I unfortunately do not, but if someone out
Not
there
yet.
like wants to get me something for Christmas, that might be something
That's
that
the
I
line,
have on
right?
my list.
That's the line. If you've got Garen pajamas, then
Pillow pauldrons.
you're a one trick. Well, actually, there would have to be a trick for you to be a one trick. So you're just a. Well, I don't know. We'll come.
You're
So,
just a one.
so
You're
gentlemen, this
lovelier than
concludes the first of what will hopefully be a regular annual occurrence, at least between Boise State and the corporate gamers of Go Green Gaming and at ICCU. And as you've seen all weekend, really, these teams going back and forth. StarCraft actually much closer than many people predicted. Boise State coming out in it, just on the edge there. Really unfair that the Go Green team gamers on their Valorant squad had to face one of the toughest programs in Valorant right now, and our coach, and she shies from that title, but Maggie Borland doing an amazing job with that group. They're easily one of the top 4 or 5 collegiate Valorant teams in the nation and could win a championship here in the next 2 weeks. We saw some Overwatch. There was some. They just qualified for top 4. I just got in my ear. Fabulous, so fabulous. So we're gonna tell a little bit more of that story next week. But Overwatch, that was a really fun one as well. We of course saw Rocket League. I think, I'm not sure if they're not. There's definitely been a challenge by one of the players that I'm aware of. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. They just
It was fish.
yeah. They cleaned house with that game. It was not even close. So it's been really fun to just kind of to do this. And in fairness, they held their own. The green team held their own with a really well established college gaming program. These are kids who wake up in the morning, go to class most of the time, and then play and hone their craft. It's great to see them do this. So for the two of you, as you kind of look, what games would you like to see this competition expand into moving forward?
I mean, I'm personally a big fan of the fighting game genre. Of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a really big title, so that's definitely one I would love to see us do in the future. Yeah. Other fighting games, I was a big fan of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. Yep. So I'd love to see that. Street Fighter is, of course, a big name in the industry.
You're just listing off games now.
Well, that's just fighting games right there, right?
You're just flexing your knowledge of fighting games.
Oh, Soul Calibur. Tekken.
Well, if we want to expand
Virtua Fighter 1.
Okay, how
Virtua Fighter 2.
How about a speedrunning competition?
Virtua Fighter 3.
Like a speedrunning competition through, some popular platformer games where you're trying to reach a certain point within the time limit. Whoever gets there faster wins. Like something like Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, some popular titles like that. Those would be cool things to see in the future.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Gartel?
I want to throw it back. I want to throw it back to retro because we have some interpersonal beef, even the three of us, with that machine there, that cabinet.
Yeah.
I want to see that little thing right there. I see some initials that I want to replace the next time I'm allowed in the arena. So I want to see some Tetris re-Tetris, and I want it to be bloody.
Yeah, well, the next time we do this, especially with ICCU, we think that the conditions are going to be different. They're going to be able to join us here, and that was the way the entire thing was envisioned in the first place, and we're going to get to that. So I'm confident about that. So this was our first virtual version of but we're going to bring these folks together and really make a celebration. The arcade, 100%. We've got a MAME 750 game cabinet back here, and we need to break out all the classics, including, this, as you know, this is designed as a fighting games cabinet, so we could bring out Capcom versus Marvel. We could bring out, oh my goodness, just about anything. Yeah. Well, okay. So we've got a quick interview coming up here. I want to thank both of you for being here and for doing such a great job calling this game. Yeah, that's. Anybody who knows this game knows how much you love it and can describe the intimate exchanges between ults and flashes in a way that makes every Saturday night pretty fabulous. Okay, so we're gonna bring in actually Roman as a quick conversation here in a minute. I'll wait for production to give me a word in the ear. But there, himself, right there, Roman. How's it going?
Good. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you fine. Let me start you off with this question then. So, in the preparation for these matches, what was the team goal? Now, having fun is always the outcome, no matter what, except in a complete beatdown in Call of Duty. But we're not going to talk about that. What were your goals coming in?
Well, just this whole program, I want to start off. Thank you for this amazing whole long last couple of days. It's been so much fun. You guys have such an amazing program. I love that we're big sponsors of Boise State. You guys are amazing. But the big goals, all right, is we want to have fun, of course, but we want to come in, we want to win. We did that with Call of Duty, but with League of Legends, we really wanted to try to hold our own. A personal goal of mine was just to pull out the Shaco. Shaco's my favorite character in any video game ever. So those were some big ones. We couldn't pull out a W. We wanted to, but we sure had a blast. And losing to you guys, I wouldn't want to lose to anybody else.
You know what, though? You got objectives. You won fights. You created great you played the game on the same level. They maneuvered. They were able to do some things. And I'm afraid to tell you, they weren't as off-put by the Shaco. So...
Well, that's okay.
Maybe the build. So let me ask you this. So for League of Legends, has this opportunity allowed you to find other coworkers, other folks that play these games where you may not have before?
I'm so glad you asked, because everybody on this Green Team Discord, or we put together a Discord for Green Teamers, I have never met any of them. I'm up in North Idaho, and a lot of them are other part of the states and the state, and so I've been able to make friends and connect with other coworkers, and it's been amazing to be able to do this, and then with a goal to come play you guys. So it's been awesome.
Well, Daryl, I'm sure you're aware of this. We've talked about this a little bit before, and we're going to see. It's my personal goal to make this happen. One of the things we want to bring on this broadcast is an opportunity for you to take on some other regional companies in some of these games. Put together an Omni, maybe 3 games over the course of a couple of days. How would you like to take on Micron? Would you like to take on CapEd? They're probably
We would
really nice.
love that. We would absolutely love that. We love practicing as a team. We love theory crafting. We love doing all of that. We can't wait to play together as a team, and we would love to do that.
Okay, so we're going to work on that, make it happen. You've got some great folks organizing it. Maybe for those who aren't aware, behind the scenes, who's been helping really kind of bring this forward for you guys?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. We have a really awesome leadership at our company, and marketing there asked a few of us, me and Jay Tan, with Clark, to put together
Papa Panda?
Papa Panda put together a Green Team Discord, and we then set out tryouts to get all these Green Teamers together, and we got them out on this Discord, and we've been practicing over the last couple of months or a month and a half, and got to here. So that's really what's been going on. It's just been fun thing off in our off work.
That's cool. And it's been hard. I mean, you can't have, like normal company softball, you can't do some of the get-togethers or the team building, certainly not across the state, but you've been able to do that with games from your home while still social distancing, while still being responsible. It's been fun to kind of see this spin up for you guys. So let me ask, as you kind of move forward and maybe things start to ease or to open up, do you think that this is the start of a big community through ICCU?
Oh, it already is. And I think it's a really great opportunity and fun, and it'll be something that grows, especially as esports grows.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll get you out of here on this, and I'm gonna make you put your name to it and pick one. If you had to take on another, I guess, Idaho favorite, who would you want to throw down with on the digital field? Would it be Micron? Would it be HP? Or would it be Science Bank? Flaming
HP.
sword in the dirt. Oh, HP? Okay.
HP, yep.
We'll see if we can get it.
That would be awesome.
We'll see if we can get it on the books. So thank you very much, and to all your Green Team folks for joining us and for doing this the last couple of days. I'm excited for the next one of these that comes up and to see what we do. I think it was a huge success, and we had so much fun putting it together. And you've got a really talented group there. So keep doing what you're doing. We'll find another opportunity here soon to get you guys on the broadcast. But really, really well done, Roman.
Thank you for having us. That was amazing.
You bet.
We'd love to do it again.
Awesome. Okay, so for those of you who are at home, thanks for joining us tonight and really all this day. We've been broadcasting for about the last 10 hours plus. Amazing job. If we can get the camera one in on our broadcast team inside the control room, been wearing masks all day, been drinking lots of water and eating some of these. We've had some granola bars. It's not high quality food that we've been eating here. We don't. Okay, there we go. It's our production team. Big wave. Ray and David. We've had Arya and Hayden in there. We've had just a ton of people doing great work all day, and of course, Mr. Alex, not Koba, Moore, who is really the one running the show here. So great job. I believe we're right at about 9-10 hours of broadcasting today. Great work to everybody. So if you are joining us here and you are a fan of ICCU, if you're a fan of Boise State, consider that subscribe button. If you've got, if you've got Amazon Prime, then you've got Twitch Prime, which means you've got one for free sub, and we would love to have it here. Your subs feed scholarships, and we've been able to. In fact, people in that room that you just saw, recipients of those kinds of scholarships, which allow us to do this. And if you want to just do a subscription anywhere as cheap as $5 a month. You'll fund scholarships, and we would always appreciate that. So for everybody who's been on this desk today, let's go back in time. Baratel, let's do Glovely, let's do Fish and Jolly, everybody who's been a part of what we've done today. And of course, folks, I missed Juice as well. Thank you so much for a great day. It's really strange for me to be on here. I'm sure production is horrified because they're like, he can talk for a long time. And, we might want to get to the top of the hour. All right. So we're going to get out of here for this. But thank you very much. We have a funny top 5. Let's go. Okay, so we'll get you out of here on the top 5. And we put these together during every broadcast. We have a double top 5, and let me see if I can count that. That's 9. So that's good news. We've got 9 holds, so we'll give you some fun stuff on the way out. But for everybody who's helped put this together, for folks like Heather Kimmett, who you never see on the broadcast, but made sure that this happened tonight. For folks like Clark Rasmussen, who is one of the super leaders at ICCU. For everybody who made this awesome broadcast possible, thank you very much. I'm Doc Haskell, and we will see you soon, Monday, I'm sure.
Dive successfully executed.
And they are going to go for it.
There it is, the flash stun. It's going to come out. An instant first blood for Boise State. A second shot going to go over and handed easily over to Boise State. Is a double kill on the scaling Ezreal. Jax may actually fall to the minion. Going looks like possibly Rod of Ages first item just to keep themselves safe against the Zoe matchup. A nice engaged judgment will come out. The strike will come out as well, but not enough damage. The flash will be given, but he doesn't get himself in range for the final auto. As the Demon Pride again gets away when they shouldn't.
So much damage, especially if you're building AP.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble, that's exactly the interaction we talked about, getting the repel out. He does have redemption, he pops barrier, he pops redemption, isn't going to be enough to save him. He does flash himself out, he has 1 HP! And he gets himself out of dodge!
Oh, that feels bad.
Redemption. Shaka will pop the clone, will it be enough? They do not know. Yeah, Graves needs to get here now before this first tower falls. Perfect engage here from the Garen, gets a flash out of the kill. They do not have ultimate just yet. Smoke Ring will be given out, and the Justice Demacian style will be given as well. But they barely do not secure the final auto attack. The Demon Cry gets away, and without any sort of... Eruption was going to be huge enough to stop him. Command Shockwave is going to be huge. Shivers will find the first target of the battlefield. Ignite will be given out. Collateral damage will be enough. But the barrier at the perfect time. Cosmo Buster getting the 1v2 and playing with style. It's not over yet, though. Watch out for your jungle. It's not safe as Vida. And build pickup here, going from the Natural Tooth immediately into the Rylai's. Oh my goodness, Lafayette gets the instant one-shot. Oh, here comes the Ezreal True Shot Barrage. We'll find its mark, and Lafayette again setting up another 2 kills for this BSU bottom lane. Or are they done yet? They might look for 3 here. So much damage being given over to Graves. Why are you quick? Really able to heal. The Command Shockwave will hit nothing. And it's just Ezreal and Orianna versus the world, but they might be able to do it. What is that damage? Boise State turning around this fight on its head.
Because he went
Garen gonna be able to?
No,
because unfortunately not. A Boise State team wipe coming out.
Because the Garen went and tried to turn
In order to get this dive successfully executed.
And they are going to go for their counter.
There it is, the flash stun. It's going to come out. An instant first blood for Boise State. A second shot going to go over and handed easily over to Boise State is a double kill on the scaling Ezreal. Jax may actually fall to the minion. Goodness.
Make that now a 3 versus 3. Dark Moon Horizon comes over the horizon, picks up a double kill.
Echo.
Jinx is bleeding out a health bar in the back line. Jax, no, triple kill, but Kale is now here. Quadra!
Get them in the Penta!
There can't be a Penta. Garrett's on the other side of the map, but Lafayette.
Garrett is getting decimated. Super Mega Death Rocket will come out, but Tademon Cried will bring tears to the eyes of every ICCU fan in the chat as Boise State. Oh, the Quadrum! Holy cow! The 4-man Shockwave!
Pentakill!
The Pentakill! Pentakill!